just put it out of play. So they're just looking to get themselves going again, get that groove back, as we see the president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, who has attended all of their home matches so far at this great stadium in this tournament. Will he have something to celebrate, at least in this leg, before they travel to Hanoi on Monday for the second leg at the Mai Dinh National Stadium? Ngọc Hai, nice little ball forward and a little bit of room for the first time there. Quang Hai is the player that they're looking to get involved whenever possible. Hung Dong, the captain, an influential figure. And once again, we're seeing the number 19, Quang Hai, just dropping deep into really a sort of a deep-lying quarterback role. And the number 8, Hung Dong, has just pushed forward a little bit more from central midfield. There's Mark Clark. He'll pick up the loose ball, but his touch failed him, and even though he commits a foul, the referee plays an advantage. Sprayed out to the left-hand side, where the willing runner was Van Dijk. But this guy has been immense. He has been involved in every game in the tournament so far, has Asnawi for Indonesia, and you can see why. He has stifled the potent attacking threat down the left-hand side of not just Van Dijk, but also Van Hao, who's a powerful customer. That was Tien Lin, the number 22, who is the most prominent striker, as Farudin, captain, comes across. He needs a bit of help there from Jordi Amat, who completes the defensive work for Indonesia. So without changes made, let's just quickly remind you what we've got here in terms of these teams. It's a three-man defence of Rizky Ridho, Jordi Amat and Farudin for Indonesia. Asnawi and Pratama Ahan, of course, the wider players, the wing-backs, if you will. Klock and Irianto have been defensively minded in midfield. And then Sayuri and Marcelino, who's been very lively in support of Dendi up top. But at the other end, here's a chance. Van Dijk looking to get in. It's a brighter start to the half for Vietnam than we saw in the first half, where they were very, very conservative. No foul. Nicely done down the right-hand side. Irianto. Well, he'll be offside if he tries to get on that, Dendi. Surely. Flag goes up. And the Vietnam offside trap has worked very, very efficiently so far in this game. There you go. Just that little step up there from Ngọc Hai. And the understanding that he has with Doi Man on his right and Tien Dung on the left has been obvious. So, three at the back for them. Van Tan and Van Hao in the wider positions, right and left, respectively. Quang Hai's now dropped into a midfield role with Hung Dong. And Huang Duc has just tried to push in from the left-hand side whenever he can. Tien Lin and Van Dijk, the players who've been furthermost forward. Nice little turn from Huang Duc. Now there are red shirts breaking forward. It's with Dendi. He's been challenged, and challenged unfairly. A little push in the back there, and a yellow card comes out. There was the captain, who was alert to the danger. Just looked as if there may have been a card brandished. We'll just wait for confirmation of that. Ngọc Hai and company just caught there in retreat, and now they have some defending to do. But in the grand scheme of things, that wasn't a terrible yellow card to take. Took one for the team there, because that was a dangerous break. Dendi had players either side of him going forward, and there were plenty of red shirts. He joins teammate Van Tan in the book, does Vietnam's captain. Now, it'll be Klock over this set piece. Three in the wall, as you can see, for Vietnam. Expectant faces in the background. Massive support at the Bung Karno today from Indonesia, as you'd expect. And what's Klock going to conjure up? It just chips one in, far post. Rizky Ridho and Farudin were the target men. In fact, Jordi Amat was over there as well, but to no avail. Always difficult with that straight-on free kick. To create an angle, have to make something happen. It's not naturally there for the second ball. Well, it's been an impressive show, and one of the subplots, of course, here has been the Shin Tae-yong versus Park Hang-seo all-Korean coaching duel. And you'd be tempted to say that the younger man has probably come out on top so far. He's put out an Indonesia side which has been strong defensively, but they have had a few options going forward as Dendi picks it up. And was there a handball? Marcelino thought so. The referee disagreed as they tried to play Jakub Sayuri in. And then that header from Jordi Amat is picked off, but there's a little accidental trip. Nothing intentional from Tianlin there, just caught the ankles, caught the heels there on the way through. And it was Rizky Ridho who was sent tumbling, but that was the shout for a handball. Very, very tough, that one. The arm was just down by his side. Crisp passing, Marcelino, Asnawi. He looks to go longer, looking for Sayuri, but that should be the goalkeepers, and with a little bit of help there from Doiman, Van Lam was protected. Sayuri goes and apologises. Just a little push in the back as he realised he couldn't get through there, but it did send him dangerously into his goalkeeper. But it looks very much as if Doiman is fine. Just to remind you, if you're joining this game late, Vietnam yet to concede a goal in this tournament. Their results in the group stage: 6-0 v Laos, 3-0 versus Malaysia. Although that scoreline maybe flattered them, Malaysia played well in that game. The scoreless draw in a cagey affair against Singapore, in which they had the better of the chances. And then in their final game, with just a point needed, they beat Myanmar by 3-0. Indonesia's path to this semi-final: a 2-1 victory against Cambodia, a 1-1 draw against Thailand, in which they really had the better of it and would have won had they taken their chances, a 7-0 drubbing of Brunei, and then the big one, an important 2-1 victory against Philippines that ensured that they were to go through. Oh, that's well defended by Asnawi. They appeal for handball, but he just got something in the way of that cross, and that was what counted. Tianlin is in, but Nadir will come and claim. Just a couple of moments at the back there for Indonesia that have worried them more maybe than anything that happened in the first half. Faridin out to Asnawi. Down the line he goes to Sayuri, ever willing. Neat little chip ball in to Marcelino. This is good from Indonesia. It's Marcelino again, but he shows too much of it to Tiendong. Oh, look at that, Asnawi, who's all about the turnover. That was a heavy, heavy challenge, and the players are getting involved, and this is getting a little bit lively. There's a scuffle happening around the player who's prone, and now the benches are getting involved, and the assistant too. It was, oh, that was a jumping, lunging kind of challenge there by Van Gaal, was it? And that might be what has caused offence, because down went Dendi as he had the studs on his shin, and that was a nasty looking challenge. Both players giving their side of things, coaching staff involved as well, apart from a man who tends to not get involved in things like this. But maybe as Park Hang-seo's tenure comes to an end, he's mellowing. Oh, the referee's having a little word with Van Gaal there, as we see Dendi on the receiving end a couple of times. But one or two players from Indonesia are lingering around there with a point to make about the nature of the challenge. He might have come out of it injured, Van Gaal, but his stance were showing going into that point of contact. He's up, and now he might well be receiving a few words from the referee. Right, the assistant may well have seen the challenge. And now the decision goes the way of Indonesia in terms of the awarding of the free kick, but there are also words to be had with number 5 Van Gaal. Just looks as if between them the officials have have spotted what happened. Looked as if Sivakorn was involved in that conversation there, as obviously we have Yusuf Arif on one side and Faisal Aid running the other side, but the referee is spending a lot of time talking here to Van Gaal about the nature of that challenge, which, had it been seen on a video review, might well, one suggests, have had him in a bit of trouble. And you get the feeling that he also knows that. Hence the apologies to the man he fouled, Dendi Suliwastan. Let's just have a look one more time. Look at that. He was off the ground. It wasn't two-footed, but the studs of that right boot went down the shin of Dendi. And now we see Park Hang-seo coming in and getting involved. Now with a smile on his face. He thinks better of it. He's told to think better of it. And the referee's just about calmed a heated situation, which has held us up for 3 or 4 minutes. But rightly, at the end of all that, the free kick goes the way of the home side. And Dendi looks as if he's able to continue, as is Van Gaal, but they'll have to wait their time. Chipped in, left-footed from Arhan, and Jordi Amat tries to make something happen. Can't do it. Will it be the bench strength of these two sides that decides this game? Will we see something significant coming off the substitutes bench? Because it feels like a stalemate that's going to need something special to break it. Precious little in the way of chances for Dien Lin so far to add to the goals he scored in this tournament. He scored 3 of them respectively against Laos, Malaysia and Myanmar. How dearly would he and his side love him to add to that tally in this so important first leg of this semi-final. It goes to Rahmat Irianto as it gets very tight over on that far touchline for Indonesia. Mark Klopp trying to find a way out. And in the end, he's assisted by the referee, who saw a foul for a push on Arhan there, and he'll give Indonesia a chance to just get out of that congested little part of the pitch. It was the close attendance there of Van Tan that was penalised. Out it goes. A little bit of a misread there from the same player. And this second half yet to really get going. It's been a bit scrappy, a bit bitty so far. Clock for Indonesia. Across to Jordi Amat. He's got Farad into his right and rolls it across to the captain. Amat, of course, drops deep, gives him that angle, that option. And the JDT man and the experienced skipper of Indonesia content to take their time and look for the run, which comes from Yaakob Sayuri, and a nice willing show it was too, as Nawi. Sayuri's making a little dart into an inside channel, but as Nawi just took a little too long on the ball. Yet to see anything really from the magical Nguyen Quang Hai. Quang Hai, who's still only 25 years old, playing for a 49th time for his country. One of the most creative players, not just in Southeast Asia, in Asia on his day, with a wonderful left foot. But he's been silent in this game, really. Safety first from the skipper. He does his job so solidly, does the Madura man, in his 52nd appearance for the Garuda today. There is Van Gaal, who is a muscular presence down this side, but one that has been so far suppressed expertly by Asnawi in particular. Clock heads clear. It'll be another throw-in. Clock's really been relishing life in this international team. He started his footballing life in the Netherlands and Scotland. Really made his name as a club player, though, of course, with Persib. Scored a couple of goals, Clock, and here he goes through midfield. A bit of open play. action. It might still find its way out. Dendi, he's shut down. They've lost a little bit of impetus in this attack, but there's Marcelino bringing what he can to it. And there's Jakub Sayuri, can't get on it. Almost deafened out by the crowd, who sensed something there, but it was a counter-attack that just never really got going there. A couple of bad options taken, and begging for the ball out wide on the left was Pratama Ahan, but it never found its way to him. Yeah, there is Klopp. His goals so far in this game coming, this tournament coming against Brunei, and a penalty against Thailand that looked as if it might hand Indonesia a famous victory, but it wasn't to be in this stadium. They were pegged back late on. Van Gaal chests it forward. Yet to see Hwang Duk really impacting this half. Took him a while to come up with anything meaningful in the first. There's Van Duk, who's dispossessed, but he wants the ball back, and it's a very tight, hard-fought game, this one, just as we knew it would be. There's Clock on the ball. And again, they look to throw it early forward. Right on the edge of the box there is Van Dam. When you've got Sayuri in your team and he's just a human dynamo, there's always that option for that outlet, whether it's just a straight ball, the diagonal. He's always looking to run in behind. We saw it against Thailand, where he really came into his own in the second half down that right side. This time, though, he loses out to Tiendong in the heading stakes. Was Aznawi fouling there? Well, no, says the referee. Nicely around the corner from Klopp. That was Sayuri. Aznawi looking to keep it going forward, but the white shirts got back and defended well, and there was a little kick out after the ball had gone. We'll have to come back to that. And the assistant referee is in attendance. Just a little bit of a scuffle involving Aznawi, and the crowd know that something has happened here. He was dispossessed, really. That was Sayuri who was involved at the end of that play, but Aznawi there went to ground, and just as he was involved in the challenge, there was a late one on Jakub Sayuri, and that didn't escape the attention of the coaching staff. But then again, just prior to that, Aznawi himself, it just looked as if he might have kicked out when there was a little tangle of bodies. So this one's getting a little bit heated. There's lots at stake, so much at stake, remember, as these two sides look to get in a commanding position, if they can, ahead of that second leg on Monday in Hanoi. Well, Sayuri's up and about. It was a wrap on the ankle that he could have done without, but he looks as if he's moving perfectly well. And now the referee will just drop this one as he stopped the play. Fahrudin for Indonesia, yet to really carve open this Vietnam side, as they did a couple of times in the first half. Irianto, well, he rode the challenge because he's tough, but referee blew anyway. And his work down this right-hand side has been very, very important alongside that of Aznawi. We saw that as they stifled Thailand here 8 days ago. It's a little run here from Marcelino, but Doiman was having nothing of it. Got his body across, just shielded that. And they haven't quite been able to string things together in this second half, Indonesia, in the way that they did. Nothing wrong with their defensive work, as that man who comes in for the big games, Shin Tae-yong really trusts the Persib man to come in and do a job for him when he needs control in a match. But then, of course, he's got the flair going forward. And if you have just joined this game late, the surprising pre-match news was that two of the bright stars of Indonesian football, Witan Sulaiman and Egy Maulana Fikri, they were left on the bench. It looked as if it may be a much more defensive-minded lineup, but what we've seen so far from Jakub Sayuri and Marcelino in support of Dendi has meant that there's been plenty of attacking flair from Indonesia shown. And it must also be pointed out that both Egy and Witan had in recent games been guilty of squandering chances, and maybe Shin Tae-yong decided that he'd run out of patience. There is, of course, rotation with these two games coming fairly soon after one another. It's really going to tax these squads. Well, Faroudin appealed for it, but it wasn't to be. And now we see the changes. A double change by the looks of things made by Vietnam. But here's a chance, though. Quang Hai, that's read well and intercepted by Klock. But they're trying to keep things alive there through Hung Dong in Huang Duc in midfield. Well, he was on for the pass. Van Tan decides to go around the outside, and in the end, it wasn't the right call because it's intercepted. So it looks very much as if Ho Tan Tai is going to be getting a run. He operates down the right-hand side. He is a real bundle of energy for Vietnam. And Tuan Hai, who was an excellent attacking force against Myanmar in Vietnam's last game, are the two players that are preparing to come on. As Park Hang-seo looks as if he wants to inject a little bit of pace and a little bit of something up top for a side that's really not been bereft of ideas, but they've struggled to create. Maybe playing with a handbrake on. Van Hao goes for a crossfield ball, really to no one, and that will run to the feet of Pratama Arhan, who finds Risky Ridho. Forward to Klock, who does well, take it on the chest and then gets the ricochet fired at him, but it'll be a throw-in for Vietnam. Time for the change, maybe. Mark Klock's going nowhere, and we're yet to see any changes here. So these are the changes. Out goes Van Tan, and that will be a straight switch there with Ho Tan Tai. And it's Tien Lin who's replaced by another striker in Tuan Hai. So it's been a fruitless afternoon for those guys, but opportunities for those who've come on now to replace them. Tan Tai's got one goal to his name in this tournament, scored against Laos. He plays for Toppenland Binh Dinh. And of course the other one coming on, Tuan Hai, the Hanoi striker, yet to open his account. Jordi Amat just shepherds that one out of play. As we now wait to see if there's to be a response from Shin Tae-yong in terms of tactics. Positionally, this won't change anything really for Vietnam. Tuan Hai already, as you can see there on the right of your screen, the furthermost forward. That's the role he'll play, and it's a straight swap. Van Tan and Tan Tai do similar roles down the right-hand side, but Tan Tai does get forward a lot, which may be something Shin Tae-yong will look to exploit. Sayuri to Irianto. He in turn finds Asnawi, who's just pushed infield. Irianto again. And again, you feel this game is just waiting really to burst into life. It might take a heavy challenge, it might take a chance. We saw it happen in the first half when the first 20 minutes or so were pretty cagey. There's Asnawi, a long way infield, he's fouled. Huang Duc it was, who just stuck a left boot in and caught the number 14. And surrendered a free kick as a result. 2 14s in attendance, yep, clearly there, just caught his right foot. Again, it's in a very straight central position, this one. It's going to take a little bit of creativity to engineer a chance, you feel, for Indonesia. Well, they're ready when required by their coach, but for now it's a question of the big guns going forward again. Dendi on the right of your screen there, Irianto's up there, Risky Ridho, Faroudin, Jordi Amat, the big central defenders, really looking probably, one would imagine, to make something of an angled ball from Klock. Although of course he does have the left foot again of Arhan, and it will be Pratama Arhan, clips it in. Didn't look dangerous, but in the end it was Van Gaal who just put it in a position where all that could happen was a clearance. Tantai it was who just put it out. So, you know what happens here. Number 12 picks it up, number 12 dries his hands, and number 12 hurls the ball a prodigious distance. So, Pratama has been told to take it from the right spot, but he needs to dry the ball first, and let's just see what he can achieve from here. The crowd loves it. When you're at the Bung Karno and he's in a position like this, it just comes alive with a sense of anticipation. Here he comes. He goes low, and that wasn't his best effort. Nicely done by Klopp. Back out to Pratama. Oh, this time his feet let him down. So after all that build-up, he didn't get anywhere near beating the first man. But his delivery is generally good, and it is a formidable attacking weapon that Indonesia have when he gets it right and spears that ball into the 6-yard box. Giving nothing away there, Shin Tae-yong spoke about this game having been on his mind from the start of the tournament. And you feel that he's allowed this team organically to evolve into the lineup we see today. Very similar to the personnel and the tactics we saw against Thailand. Oh, that's great defensive work by Asnawi again. Not so great there from Tiendung. Is there a foul on Marcelino? Yeah, look that way. Tried to keep going, but he was just getting nibbled away at there by Quang Hai, and that was enough for the referee to say we're going to come back for the free kick. So Quang Hai has had a frustrating outing so far, just can't get going. He's dropping deep to try and get on the ball. Jordi Amat goes to the right to Faruddin. He looks to chip a ball into the box, and that might ask a bit too much of Dendi for all the willing running that he does. That wasn't maybe the best option. 73 minutes played at the Bung Karno. Both defences standing strong. But have they got something at the other end? There's Rizky Ridho, Jordi Amat. They're part of this new look Indonesia lineup, which has caught the attention of the region with their displays in this tournament. There's potential in this side, that much you know. But are they going to go one better than the last time they played in this championship and made it to the final, only to be beaten comfortably in the end? 6-2 aggregate by Thailand. Here they come again. Sayuri, infield, might just have to pick out a player, and he gets lucky because Irianto's on the ball. Fouled. Despite the protests from Doi Man, the referee says that was a foul, and it'll be another free kick. Oh, you can be generous and say he was going for the ball there, but he certainly got plenty of Irianto on the way through, and that's maybe why Marcelino was gently inquiring about a yellow card. But it looks as if it's left a little bit of telling damage there on Rahmat Irianto, who is made of stern, tough stuff and doesn't go down easily, but that challenge has caused a problem. Here's a change again for the visitors. And it's going to be the arrival of Tuan An, as off goes the man who'd been wearing the captain's armband, Do Hung Dong, on a yellow card, remember. So Nguyen Tuan An arrives with some 15 plus minutes to impact this game. 27-year-old, well experienced. Plays for Huang An. And again, Van Lam's just lining up a wall, but again it's a free kick that's going to require a degree of creativity to make something happen here. He's got two players in a wall. Today's attendance is being announced by the stadium announcer there as clock. Oh, oh, and that's an interesting one. Was it played for? I have my doubts. looked to work something down the left-hand side, couldn't make it happen, and that's a set piece that maybe they need to go back to the training ground with. Pratama, Arhan and Klopp not working that one, and you know, it's going to be moments like that maybe that could break this game open. Coach Shin maybe not too impressed by an opportunity potentially squandered there. There's Hotantai, who's just looking to wind up and get going down that right-hand side. He was very, very impressive against Myanmar. Constant source of attacking options. But this is a different contest. There are defensive thoughts in these players' minds that weren't really there against Myanmar. It was a final group stage game against a team that had nothing to play for. This is a very, very different game. Played into the area, potential there, but Van Dok unable to get on the end of it. And then long range effort might just turn into something for Van Gaal. And another ricochet. This time it's the captain Faroudin putting it behind. Swantais, obviously the man that they're looking to pick out whenever those balls go forward now. Here's Quang Hai, what can he do? Left-footed with this corner. Quang Hai floats one away, and that was good defensive work. Solid defensive work as in came Tantai. And Rizky Ridho is a formidable physical specimen, and he did really well in there. A little bit too strong, the challenge there on Marcelino. Messy, really, from Quang Hai, that one. Jordi Amat for Indonesia, who in truth have created nothing like the chances they carved out in the first half. Haven't looked anything like as fluid going forward, in truth. They may not be too disappointed, but remember, they've got home advantage. They've got a best part of 50,000 strong crowd roaring them on, and it'll be a very different equation in Hanoi on Monday night. Here's Jakub Sayori, who kept it alive somehow, but that's probably a foul by Klopp. But it's not given. Instead, the ball goes out of play. Did he get the ball? Asnawi there, who's a real battleship of a player there, was in challenging, and he just complained a bit about the challenge. Nothing wrong with that one. And Ngoc Hai told him as much, the no-nonsense leader for Vietnam, wearing the armband right now. And there he is, on the ball. 69 now appearances for his country. The man who plays for Song Lam Naan. Scored once in this tournament, actually scored against Malaysia. Good defensive work again, and it was that little duel down this side in which Asnawi came face to face with Van Gaal. Now here's another all-action performer about to enter the fray, the recognisable figure of Ricky Kambuaya, who will bring his energy and invention to midfield. Oh, again, Sayori, just when they think they've got him, his little pace gets him away from players. Now, Rizky Ridho, Pratama Arhan tried to play an early ball, looking for Marcelino. And he will be absolutely desperate to get involved here as he comes in for Rahmat Irianto, who's put in a tremendous shift, the number 13. Again, a like-for-like swap, really, in those midfield areas. He's a little bit more forward-thinking than Irianto, as we see another long throw about to be launched here by Pratama Arhan. Here he comes. Does he get more height on this one? Yes, he does. It's in a dangerous area. Headed straight up in the air and over the goal it goes for a corner. Yeah, Van how it was, getting up and heading over. He's such a good defensive component for Vietnam, is Van Hal, with that height and strength he has. He's got more work to do right now as my clock looks to send in something with a bit of meaning. Works it short. Where's the angle? Here it comes. They've changed the angle. Bit of whip. That's a good ball. And again, Vietnam's defensive work was absolutely solid. They've had a little bit more of the ball in this half, have Indonesia, but perversely it's meant fewer chances for them. A little bit late, that challenge there. Play goes on. And there's Asnawi pumping it forward. Oh, he's done well to pick out Dendi. There's a chance. Oh, great challenge. Great covering challenge there from the substitute. Came across brilliantly, did Tuan An there. Just when it looked as if Sayuri might be able to pull the trigger. Look at number 2 in his diagonal run here. And then the smart play from the number 11 to just wrap his foot around that. Was there a shove there from Dendi? Vietnam thought there was, but play went on, and that's what made that challenge so important. It's been one of those days for Shin Tae-yong's Indonesia. Chances, maybe half chances at times, haven't gone their way, but at this level they have to be converted. Referee conscious there that time wasting could become a factor. All smiles from Uncle Park. And at this stage, you're probably seeing a little change in mindset here, because this is a good score, one would imagine, to take back to Hanoi if you are Park Hang-seo. And here he comes now, looking to get some instructions across. There's a little break in play, that's why. As we look back at some of the physicality, and this has been a bruising encounter in which both of these sides have shown just exactly what it means to them. They're giving nothing away and resorting to whatever means to stop Yaqub Sayuri, if possible, because he is a live wire. And he, quite frankly, has looked like maybe being the most likely to create something for Indonesia that could open the game up. Farudin just suffering a little bit there, but looks as if he's good to go, and we're good to go, as we are, of course, now probably in what will be the last 10 or so minutes of this semi-final first leg. Van Gaal's throw, and then a really rather aimless ball forward. It's never going to provide anything meaningful for Tuan Hai. Maybe that's not the priority anymore. Maybe for Park Hang-seo it's a question of being solid, being defensively sensible, getting the bodies in the right places. As Klopp comes in, realises that back to the keeper's the best way to go here, and out it comes to Farudin. As Indonesia themselves will have to just question how brave, how risky they go in this game, as they can ill afford to concede something. Clock to Jordi Amat. As they look to try and get Ricky Camboaya on the ball. He's a very, very purposeful runner when he breaks forward, but at the moment he's just got too many white shirts to try and find a way through. This is a really, really solid defensive setup now by Vietnam. So instead, going long, looking for Pratama Arhan down the left, and try as he might, he was getting absolutely nothing there out of Tan Tai, who's a very strong defender as well as a player who has tremendous energy working forward down the right-hand side, but you feel it's going to be the defensive side of Tantai's game that he's going to be dipping into for the remaining 5 minutes or so. Is there to be an opportunity for Pham Tuan Hai at the top end of the pitch for Vietnam? Pham Tuan went up. There's a little bit of gap as the captain just left a little gap at the back there, but good cover where it was needed from Ricky, who then gets up, takes out Sayuri. He always wanted that header, but Sayuri doesn't have a problem with that. Van Hao for Vietnam. Nothing doing as Sayuri hoofs it down the right-hand side, and this game is just beginning to meander a little bit towards its conclusion. Always a possibility, remember, when you're looking at a first leg in a semi-final, so much at stake, and again that throwing style from Van Hao, which catches the eye, as Ricky Camboya says that should be his ball, that it flicked off Tuan An. But instead it goes the way of Vietnam. Across to Ngoc Hai. Very straight ball, little flick on. Through to Nadeo, no harm done. The flick came from Tuan Hai, but nothing doing yet again, and we've seen very, very little from Vietnam as an attacking force in the game. And you don't often say that about a side as accomplished as this, but there's a method to what their coach is doing, there's a method to what they've done today, but there's also been some quality about this Indonesia performance, and now you feel it's going to come down to belief in the second leg. Are Shin Tae-yong's men capable of going to an atmosphere and a venue as intimidating as the Mai Dinh National Stadium in Hanoi and delivering a performance that can see them get through to the final? Or will Vietnam feel that they've got the job more than half done here, that they can go home and count on that home advantage and make something happen themselves? Clock's in there challenging, can't get onto it though. And are we to see a little flurry at the end here from Vietnam? Out it goes to Tantai. Early ball, good ball, but well read by Jordi Amat, using all of that experience. And here's Ricky Camboya, gets his head up. Nice little turn there. Dendi it was who came and showed. Now Marcelino down the left-hand side. Sayuri's free if they can pick him out. There he is, hits it back. Oh, and is there a push? Well, he went down there, Ricky, but referee was very close. Referee decided there wasn't any ill intent there. And in the end, it's a little foul there from Sayuri, which Vietnam will be more than happy with, as it just takes the sting out of the closing stages of this game. And it was a silly one, really. Maybe a show of frustration from the number 2 there. That was the challenge, but really all he was doing was leaning on him. No hands involved from Ngoc Hai, despite that slightly anxious look to the official. Last change and a few minutes coming on. Van Duk, who's had a fairly fruitless afternoon, he's been shut down very well. Replaced by Van Ton. But precious little time really for Nguyen Van Ton to impact this game, or is there? Maybe they've got something in them. Vietnam, Van Hao in field. And again, it's pumped forward. And again, Jordi Amat had to make the decision. And this time, that decision was to head it behind. So with 5 minutes added on, there's plenty of time for either of these sides to snatch what would surely be a winner. And at the moment, with the corner going their way, maybe Vietnam feel this is their time. So nervous moments for the home crowd at the Gelora Bung Karno. as Nadeo and company pick the danger, and Quang Hai prepares to deliver. Oh, he's lifted that high and long and not particularly handsome, as Farudin comes all the way out with it. And then Pratama Ahan is able to clear. So, wasted opportunity really for Vietnam there. Although Van Lam knows there are players still upfield, and he looks for that long ball. And between them, Rizky Ridho and Jordi Amat kind of get the ball clear. And in the end, it will be Indonesia with an opportunity to try and get into the opposition half. Flying into the challenge was Asnawi. Oh, and they've given the foul. It was touch and go, 50-50. And was there an amount of recklessness about it? Was there a lack of control? That's what goes through the official's mind at times like that, as well as, of course, one would imagine, the shouts from the bench. Very late on in the piece, we see the goal machine for Bali United, who is Ilya Spasijevic, rather. He's a guy who, of course, was their top scorer at club football. He's scored in this tournament already, the number 9. And he will be joined by Witan Suleiman, another attack-minded player, as maybe there's one chance for one of those players at the end of this one. It's a triple change, in fact, as well. Sadil Ramdani is also going to be coming on when the time is right, but they've got some defending to do right now. So 7, 8 and 9 due to arrive, and that looked as if it was a corner, but it looks very much as if the officials have given that as a restart for Indonesia, which the crowd love, because here they come over the halfway line with Jordi Amat out to Pratama down the left-hand side. Crowd really want that ball played into the box, but it doesn't happen. And now a chance for the counter, but it's not working. Rizky Ridho's ball forward. That's nicely done. Jordi Amat had stayed forward. Is there to be late drama here at the Bung Karno? There's Asnawi. He looks up, crosses it in. Half a chance. A shot! And a missed shot from Ricky. Then it's Sayuri who gets a shot on target. Well, for a moment there, it looked as if Ricky Camboyaya thought that he might have been fouled. He completely air-shotted that one, but nothing doing there. And then Sayuri with a shot on target that was just kind of patted away by Van Lam. So after a second half with very few chances, suddenly in the closing minutes and seconds, we have a little bit of excitement. Oh, a complete miss of the ball there from Ricky Camboyaya. As we do indeed see the changes, surely not much time for any of these guys to impact this match, but if they do, it will be headline stuff. Clock with a corner, swings it away, headed straight up in the air. The goalkeeper wants this, doesn't get it. Jordi Amat with the goalkeeper out of position. Clock lifted back in again, too far. Dangerous times these for Vietnam, as Rizky Ridho gets on it, nicely done. Around the outside goes Witan, can't keep it in play though. That should be a Vietnam throw-in. Yeah, nicely defended in the end. Just did what he needed to do there, Tantai, just got it out of play. And after that little flurry of excitement and half chances, we are now into the final 60 seconds or so of this one. Kept alive brilliantly there by Pratama Ahan, but Spasijevic can't get on it. And now the crowd wants something to happen, but the 95 has come up, which means discretionary time added on, and there's none of that. And the referee brings down the curtain on, at times, a cagey, certainly hard-fought and very fiercely contested first leg of this semi-final. It ends up scoreless, and you can make of that what you will, as it's all alive going into the second leg on Monday night in Hanoi. As try as they might, Indonesia created the chances but couldn't put them away. Will they regret it when they travel to Hanoi? Will Vietnam have another gear that we haven't seen tonight? It's finished 0-0 at the Gelora Bung Karno. So the full-time score then, scoreless. Not a terrible match. There were chances and there will be regrets. Most notably, you feel